Hello, welcome to Sunday's Best. Um, just want to make sure that you know that you're free to have your popcorn or your dessert, and you can keep your mask off for the next 30 minutes and enjoy Sunday's Best. As always, I try to give you something to start the week off with that's positive, factual, inspiring, and sometimes just sharing and not sure sometimes if it's to a particular person or to everybody, but I certainly hope that one week I will say at least something that you feel that is directly on point for you. So, if tonight is your first night, don't make it your last. Um, I am going to review from last week, as we always do. But first, before we do that, I want to take the time to thank all of you who have been praying for my mother. She was seriously ill, but doing so much better, miraculously better. We know that it's God. That's it. It's favor and it's a miracle. But anyway, I want to dedicate this show to her because she tries to catch it when she's in King Street. Sometimes it's hit and miss. She does get on, other times she can't. But at any rate, we are so thankful that God has brought her back. When I say back, that's really what I mean. She was really sick. So anyway, she's 89 years old, but she's like a 79-year-old. She drives her car from King Street to Columbia. And so just having a minute of her slow down was very unusual for all of us because we're used to her doing exactly what she wants to do. And that's what she does, what she wants to do. So again, this is to dedicated to my mom. We all love her, and we're glad that she's back on the track to recovery. So last month, we talked about self-care and how important self-care is. Then this month, we've been talking about faith, family, and your lifestyle, that it is a choice, a personal choice. That if you have too much on your plate, you're the one that put your schedule together, and so no one else can take it off your plate like you can. Last week, Sunday's Best, I asked the question, did you pay yourself? And I'm going to be asking that question all year, particularly until September, when we all plan to reach our goal. Last week, I started off by telling you three stories, and I won't go into all of them. But the one man wanted to buy some Girl Scout cookies, family of four. He was at home and didn't have $2. That was a wake-up call. Then there was, I told the story of when I started my first job. I just had my first work anniversary. I started working in insurance February 3rd, 1969. God showed favor for me because when I went to that job, for that job interview, I did not know how to type. Now, I still don't do too well at it. But she said, you braved the storm to come here, so you're going to get the job. And so she told me to show up February 3rd, and I kept showing up, and I kept showing up, and I kept showing up, and worked between Connecticut and South Carolina a total of right at 19 years for that insurance company before getting into real estate. And I said to you, no matter whether you love a job or not, and like Dr. King says, and it's Black History Month, you are to do your very best, whatever it is. If it's sweeping the floor, if it's a file clerk, if it's whatever, at whatever job I did, I never said that's not my responsibility. Somebody was out sick, you have to help work their desk, work their claims, do whatever. it was learning ground for me. And then the last one of a young lady that went to school, got a good education, did everything she thought she was supposed to do, and found herself even making $70,000 a year way back when. She still ended up broke and broken. So, money is about managing. And that's what we talked about last week. We said begin with the end in mind. So if you are just beginning the work world, you got to have a plan, an exit plan. What are you working for every day? You got to know your why. And if you're midways about to retire, you still may have to have a plan. So generations ago, your mother would say, you making that kind of money? I never made that kind of money. And so people expect you to do better than they did when you end up making a higher salary than they did. But if you don't manage your money, it doesn't happen. So I asked the question last week, do you owe more than you own? We talked about you got to get the money straight. Overtime doesn't always mean that you will have enough money to dig out of debt. Remember, you did not get into debt overnight, and you're not going to get out of it overnight. It takes a plan. It takes commitment. It takes sacrifice. It takes changing some habits. It takes denying yourself. It takes a lot to dig out from debt. Debt is one of those things that easy in, hard to get out. But you know what? Like I said last week, our slogan for the year is, yes, you can. So the answer to the question, I'm in real deep. How deep? Too deep? Can I get out? Yes, you can. There is a way to get out of debt. But you got to find the right road, and you got to remember, debt has emotional ties. Emotional ties. What I want, how I feel when I get so and so, why can't I have it? My friends have it, my neighbors have it, my family have it. But remember, each one of us has different emotional ties. Some people's are tied to their stuff. They just can't have enough stuff. And so if you don't have that same desire as someone else, then you may have more money at the end of the month than they do. So remember, in our society, financial status is an important part of what makes people successful. Some people spend to affirm themselves. Some people feel good, so they spend. Some people are miserable because they don't have the money to spend. Others are mad with other people because they can afford to spend. But you don't know the other person, what that person had to give up to be able to live like they're living now. Spending out of control can actually trap you and send you spiraling down an emotional path that you may not be able to recover from. We also said there are pillars and principles to getting out of debt. Overload and overspending causes shame and can be paralyzing. It can lead to depression. You can spin yourself out of control, and you can spin yourself into more debt that cause you to fester and to cause you to actually get bitter with other people because they seem to be doing better than you are. So just remember, the person that got you in is the person that can get you out with prayer, with hard work, with changes, with sacrifice, with denying yourself, it is possible. So I encourage you to have the money talk. It's really uncomfortable. People don't want to know what they already know, which is they're in too deep. But they're afraid that if they start to uncover what they've already done, they're going to feel bad. Nobody, everybody makes a mistake, but nobody should continue to make a mistake over and over and over that's carrying you down a path that you know is very destructive. We talked about having your money talk often with whoever is making the money, bringing in the money, spending the money. You have to have a money talk. So in your family, when it says, girl, get your money straight, it could just be you. And then you don't have anybody else to blame. But if it's you and a spouse, you may point the finger and the finger may be pointed back at you. The right hand may not know what the left hand is doing. But in order to quit the foolishness and the nonsense, you have to face the man or the woman in the mirror and be sure that you know that it's time to wake up and to do something different. You won't have a money breakdown until you break it down. Let me say that again. You won't have a money breakthrough, until you sit down and break the money down. Know what's coming in, know what's going out, know what it's being spent on, and know what's being saved. Know whether it's being fruitful and being multiplied, and know what your money is doing for you. Give your money a job. Money has energy. And you know what? It ain't loyal either. So you got to tell your money what to do. And then lastly, before we go into this week, there were a couple of things that I said were principles that I wanted you to write down. And I told you what they were, but it was the flow of money, working hard, but keeping some of it. It's insane doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I know you think you're good and your memory is great, but you got to write the plan. You got to write it down. Debt is not your friend, and debt is not friendly. It wants to be paid. Savings, you've got to save. If you save and you got paid this week, put up your dollar sign. You got to have faith. You got to have second opinions on a lot of things. Even if it's a medical condition, you may need to get a second opinion. You got to have a weapon to fight debt. You got to have a weapon, and you got to know what'll take it down. All right? So that was last week. So now this week, we're going to start off with a lot of questions. I got a question. Do you know how to get your money straight? Do you know that creating compulsive debt is as addictive as drinking, as taking drugs? Compulsive debt is very addictive. And like an addict, until you admit that you have a problem, your problem is still going to be with you. Getting out of debt is a step-by-step program, just like AA or any other place. Awareness. Then you ask God to help you, and then you listen, and then you study, and then you look for solutions to the problem. I believe you can do it. I believe you can do it. Now, behind what is the psychology behind debt? Everything starts in the mind. Perhaps it's because you think you need to have everything immediately. You don't believe in the layaway plan. You got to have it now. You don't have time to fire up the stove. You're going to put it in a microwave so it can be ready in an instant. And that's what gets most of us deep into debt. So, the psychology of money management, I'm going to start with some questions. What's your relationship with money? Do you like it? Do you love having enough of it? Or can you live and get by without it? That's the question. The next question. Why do you work so hard for the money, yet you don't have any respect for it? Because if you respected it, you would protect it. If you respected it, you would inspect what you're spending your money on. So, why do you work so hard? Why do you go out and work every day? That's the question. Next question. Why is having money such a secret? Or why is not having money such a secret? It's either uncomfortable to talk about, you don't want anybody to know that you make so much and do so little with it, or you don't want anybody to know how little you make. But the truth be told, the people that can stretch a dollar, the people that don't go spending out of control, they make less than some of us make, but they manage it better. So their secret is a secret we probably need to know. Next question. Do you invest in getting knowledge on something that you consider valuable? So, if you get up every day, every week, every month, 10, 15, 20, 30 years of working, I would have to think that what you're working for has a value, that you have a reason, that you have a strong why to make you get up and repeat that process over and over and over. So if you do it that often and you're committed to it for years and years and years, it must have some value. It must have a payoff for you. But you know what? If you don't manage a little, when you're blessed with more, you're not going to manage that either. You can have a degree, you can be promoted, you can be CEO of a company, and you can still be in a ton of debt if you don't manage money well. And I know it sounds like I'm beating this one to death, but it's necessary. It's necessary. The psychology of money management goes beyond just why you're working for the money. It's so much more to money than how much you make. It is so much more to money than what you make. Remember I said that when I got my first job, real job, in 1969, I was making $1.15 an hour. But guess what? I was still able to save some money. Even if it was only $10 in the beginning, I was still able to save. And I'll bet you can do the same thing. So the psychology, we always think, what's behind it? Psychology is a study of the human mind, how it functions, how it behaves. It's your mental and emotional behavior. So what's your thoughts about money? How do you handle money in your mind? What do you think about it? Like I said, do you have enough? Do you love having money? Can you manage without it? That's the question that I ask. So, what does your psyche say about your money? We're talking about getting your money straight. And it says, do you have a certain attitude or value or relationship on how you feel, think, or react about having or not having money? We're having a talk. We're having a serious talk about money because it's necessary. It's necessary. It's up there with oxygen. You got to have some to live. Money ain't everything, but it gives you options, you know? So you got to learn that you have to make a sacrifice. And I was reading, and one lady said that the reason that she doesn't have any money is because she got married. Her husband wanted to get his education in. She was at home raising the one child they had. She was working on her relationship with her boyfriend, first then husband, but she wasn't working on her money relationship. And she saw that all the money was being used either for education or for the fact to make up because he was getting the education. And she finally realized he got the education, he got the job, they got a divorce, and she was left almost penniless. And then in the midlife crisis, she learned that it was as important to have a relationship with her money as it was to have a relationship with her boyfriend, with her husband, with her family, with her girlfriend, even with her children, because she had wasted up to her midlife not having the right relationship with money. So we work hard, women, at climbing the ladder to success in our career. We work hard at raising our family. All of these involve thought, emotions, and a lot of hard work. But so does learning how to get your money straight. Money management is a must-do. Now, a couple of steps to getting your money straight. Number one, assess where you are, regardless of how you got there, whether you have anybody to blame or not. Take responsibility for where you are. Own it. Own it. Be courageous. Have faith. Examine your belief about money and decide if it is right, whether you understand the psychology or not, whether it's right, and whether what you don't know about money or what you don't do to manage money, whether that is what's holding you back. May not be that job. It may be that you need to get another job. It may be not a job at all, that you need to start that business that you have all of the skill and everything for, but you're not doing it. You got to manage your life. You got to manage your life. Number two, be grateful for life's lessons that you've learned the hard way. Lord, if you get me out of this, this is my wake-up call. This is my teaching moment. I'll learn from it. Just help me get out of this. But you got to be sincere. You got to mean it. If you want him to help you get out, he's going to do his part. You can always count on God to do his part. Are you going to do your part to get your money straight? Number three, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was the way that ton of debt got piled on your lap. Change is required to clean up what you messed up. Change the mindset, change the habit, refocus, and gain your footing. All of this takes time. Rome was not built in a day. But you know what? I believe that you can do it. So, the last 5 minutes that we're going to use tonight, just like we have been told, sometimes we look for love in all the wrong places. Same thing with money. You got to understand the use of a thing and get to the core of it and understand and uncover the use of it, because until you do, you're going to abuse it. So if you're making money and you're abusing it, you don't know the use of it. What fuels your spending? Remember I said money is an emotional thing, and emotions are into relationships, whether they're between a husband and wife, a family, whatever. A relationship is built on trust and emotions. And so is money. The haves and the have-nots. Check out the emotions. So what fuels your spending? Is it impulse? Is it lack of affection? Is it wanting to get recognized? Want somebody to see you? See how well I'm doing? Is it when you get sad? When you're lonely? When you're depressed? All of these things can lead to overspending. Emotional triggers. Whatever that void is that you're trying to fill with spending, you need to find another way to fill that void. If you have a feeling of scarcity or lack, you got to stop spending. Feeling powerless without a credit card, check your psyche. The credit card can make you or break you. It depends on what you do with it and how you spend it. Just like your relationship, keeping the romance burning, even when it means the house is on fire. That's what the young lady did. She didn't want to be alone. She bought into the fact that when he made it, they would all make it. She wanted to keep the fire burning. And as a result of that, her house burned down. Okay? So when you see things going up in flame, run for the water hose. But after you out the fire, figure out what caused it in the first place. And emotional baggage leads to broke or brokenness. It says, some people say, ha ha, I'm broke, but I look good. There are a few things in life that we can count on. And it says death, taxes, and as a people, that we're going to look good and we're going to ride well. And the designers and the makers know that we're consumers, and our reputation of spending and driving the finest sometimes and being the life of the party leads to broken relationships, to broken finances. Broke is broke. All right? So the principles and the pillows, we have one that says the spending curse. You want to end the spending curse. Sometimes that curse is in your family. It travels down the bloodline. And it says, wisdom, saving should come before eating out, before the movies, before cable TV, before clothing, buying designer clothing, and savings should be a priority. So the spending curse, if you do all of the things that I just said and your children see you do those things, they carry that over into their lives, that then becomes a curse. Pride. pride. We all know that pride can be a dangerous thing, very dangerous. And one of the principles behind pride was that you have to, it says, for the poor shall never cease increase out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thine hand wide to thy brother. You know, just like a closed fist, nothing gets in, nothing goes out. And if your pride is such that you have to wear your bank account on your back, it will lead to other things. Another principle and pillow of get your money straight and the principles of finance: debt contaminates, debt contaminates, debt consumes. And it just doesn't contaminate you, it contaminates your whole family. You can pass that thing down through generations. So you want to get a handle on whatever's going on with your finances. Until you do, it's going to haunt you. Another principle, it says, when making financial decisions, your first step should be to get a second opinion. And I think I said that one last week as well. Think about what you're planning to do. Give yourself some time. But always remember, pray about it, not after you do it. When you go and say, I need you to get me out of this, it's better to say, should I get into this? Is this right for me? Control. You got to have control. Janet Jackson talked about control. Control can mean contentment is knowing how to control your spending when you can't control your income. You may work on a job and they said, is that all they pay? No, that's all they pay you. But there are some people on that job that are making more than you. So if you can figure out what they're doing that you're not doing and can be doing, then by all means do it. But if you can't, it might be time for you to move on to something else. So contentment doesn't mean that you have to stay in the same job, and it doesn't even mean you have to love what you do. But you need to be able to take what you do, tuck it away, so that when you make your move, whatever that next move is, whether it's a job or opening up a business, you got some tools, you got some arsenals in your toolkit that can help you to move forward. Debt causes depression. I think I said that one before. So you want to be in control. And lastly, sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to do so that you can live like no one else can? I may have it not quite right, but I know it's something that Dave Ramsey says. And the last one I want to leave you with is, in order to get your money straight, sacrifice is the ability to give up something that you like to obtain something that you love. Not that you love money, but you love having it so that you can have options. All right? So I thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope that you have some other people on with you. I'm going to see how many of you I can respond to now. And if not, I'll definitely do it later. We have Vivian says, a great session, but I have to leave for a meeting on Zoom at 7:30. Thank you, Vivian, for getting on. And Gloria Moore says, such a much needed session. Thank you. Let's see who else we have. Gloria Cooper, and she has her $. Laurie Samuel has her $. Gloria Moore has her $. Overspending is a stronghold. Sandra Ellison has her $. Let's see. Lavinia has her $. Let me see if I can go back down the other way. Marva, let's see. Thank you all for getting on. Sandra Bolton says, always comparison shopping and the price match. I saved $10 on my vitamins this week by simply pulling up Amazon price and asking for a price match. Now that's smart. That's smart. Gloria Moore says, great teaching. Hey, Charlene, thank you, Charlene Conwell, for being on. And she says, yes, I saved some money. I paid myself this week. We can do what we want when we put our minds to it concerning money. Gloria Moore, I approve that message. Sandra Bolton says, you have to learn how to multiply money, make $1 out of 15 cents. Exactly. Let's see. Such a great lesson to learn. Thank you. Ashley Hannah Williams says, yes, I agree. Saving should come first. We invest into our retirement, HSA account, deferred compensation plan, and a household saving account before our deposit hits our account and start paying bills. We have to save ourselves first. Great lesson. I approve that message, Ashley. I really do. You guys are young. You're starting now, and that's awesome. So we got people from all over. Ashton is on. He says, thank you very much. This is amazing. Andrea Williams says, live like no one else so you can live and give like no one else. That's Dave Ramsey. Thank you for telling me. Sandra Bolton says, part of control is discipline, saving and spending. I used to teach Crown Ministry, and it talked about you need to know how to give, save, and invest. And it's still true. Janice King says, thank you. You are very welcome, Janice. Kim Weiss says, thanks for taking good care of my brother on, let's see if I can get further down. My dear brother on the sale of his home. You rock, you sister from King Street. All right. Well, great. So I thank you all. I thank you for being there. And as always, I ask that you share this message immediately. Share this message. Remember to pay yourself first. And if you don't, you're always going to end up in last place. You don't want to run the race. You're not running the race to lose. You're running the race to win. All right? So like anything else, you just don't get up one morning and say, I won, and not know how you won, because you want to win more than once. So if you figure out how you did a thing, and as they say in Charleston, just do that thing, then you do that thing and keep doing it, you'll be all right. So tune in next week for more of Get Your Money Straight, because it is important. So I want you to have a good night, have a good life. In fact, have $1 million life. Share this message, and I'll see you here next week. Good night.